it will be hitting the news and there will be a defamation for that particular company. Its stock prices might come low. There might be some consequences like more customers may not trust the particular bank, and if there is any loss of money, then most of the people will take out of the money from the particular bank. So all these things are a certain defamation that it can be caused to the organization. And we are just talking about risks are nothing but the worst case scenarios. So it's very difficult to trace the culprit as well. Like if there is some incident that happened, then it will be very tough for the organization to trace back, like from where is that a hack has happened within India or outside India, within the state or outside of the state. So from where this particular issue has been happened. So to trace back also it is very tough. So what are the root causes of this particular vulnerability? Login activities, failed login activities are not logged. So usually, uh, even when you create a some projects within your colleges, it's we can just put the username so and so is not provided the password correctly at this particular time for how many times, like how many times he is getting a error message, we can able to get log that in a log file, so that if there is any issue or if there is any most of the cases there there will be a, like we have got into scenario like where a person who left the company, if they are still having the access, then they do this sort of a malicious activity. So in order to stop that, we need to have a proper logging, we have to have a proper access management methodologies in place. So as soon as a person leave the organization or leave the college, you need to revoke his access. So once you leave out of the college, your access to the college portals will be stopped. Only you will be given the access to alumni portal. So like that, we need to have the access management in place. And even if the logs files are present, but it is poorly monitored. So think that we are logging, like your college might have like hundreds of computer. We are logging all the system activities. But do you think it is practically possible to make a manual effort to look into all the logs and see whether anyone has done any malicious activity? It is not, right? So think of in the organizations where you have a like a lakhs of people working on this particular company. So it is very hard to monitor the employees activities and also the systems that is available. So we should have some tools which will get into the log files and see for any malicious activity. If there is any malicious activity, for example, we discussed like if someone is trying to access social media websites, or if someone is trying to access the uh, send a mail to if someone is sending a mail to their personal account, then he have to, if it is poorly managed, then the SEM tools will help us to alert if there is any malicious activity. And the log files that are stored can be accessed and altered. So these log files should be given, the access should be given only to the uh, system administrators or any network persons. It should not be given to all the people who are using the systems. So the log files should be very much secure. It should not given any access locally. And many tools do not initiate a alert. If it is not alerting, then if the tools that we have implemented is not alerting, then that is also will cause an issue. So these are some of the root causes for this particular vulnerability, and mitigations, how to reduce it. If there is any vulnerability, the first thing is to log all the activities, whatever the required information we need to log. Especially we have to login attempts, log the login attempts, failed login attempts, critical transactions, If someone is sending money in a bank application, if someone is receiving the like huge amount, then those data should be logged in. Logs generated should have e- enough context to figure out logged malicious activity. So take for an example, if you're logging in some of the data and if it is not maintained properly, or you're not getting the required fields from the system, then logging itself will, the purpose of logging itself will go in vain. So we need to ensure that all the required fields are monitored or logged. In case of malicious activities, monitoring and alerting should work efficiently. So we need to ensure that all the malicious activity, if there is any malicious activity, we are getting alert in a proper time. Sh- Efficiently in the sense we should be getting a proper prompt response. Once someone is trying to send a mail, we are getting the alert. So these are the some of the concepts with respect to insufficient logging and monitoring. Now we'll hope we have discussed about OS top 10 vulnerabilities. Like if you see here, like we have the new like the version that is latest is 2021. So if you see here, like we could able to see we have been discussing 2017, but if you see here, most of the 2021 has some of the other uh, vulnerabilities from 2017 list, but we have like three new ones, which is insecure design, which we'll be discussing in the next class. On Thursday's class we'll be discussing about the insecure design and as a a separate concept. And we have the new data software and data integrity failures and server side request forgery. So these are something new in 2021. If you see other like how it is being ranked, we could able to see broken access control is topped, which was like A5 in 2017, is ranked at 2000 first in the 2021. So someone who missed about this particular WASP introduction. WASP is nothing but an open web application security project. It is it is a non-profit organization uh, built by like like-minded people. Like you have clubs in your colleges, right? Like similar to that, security professionals around the world is part of this particular organization, and they come up with a list of vulnerabilities as a projects for every once in 4 years or 5 years they will be releasing this list. Maybe this year or next year you might see the new list coming up. So if you want to do more research on the particular vulnerability, you can able to go to this particular website and get into the details of each vulnerability and get sufficient knowledge on this particular vulnerabilities. So the introduction course will be having like limited information, but here like you have a good information or also references also will be very much helpful for you to understand the complete details about this particular vulnerability. So if you see here, we have list of mapped CWE. CWE is nothing but common weaknesses enumeration. So relative travel, path traversal. These are some of the weaknesses enumerations that we have. Enumeration is nothing but the numbers will be there like 275. All unique weaknesses will be there with the this particular numbers. So if you see here, this particular broken access control has 34 CWEs weaknesses. And if you see the CVEs, which is common vulnerability enumeration, we have almost 19,003. So weaknesses will have multiple vulnerabilities related to that. On this, you can able to learn about this improper limitation of path name to restricted directory. So they have given like sufficient examples. You want to, and if you see, we have a CVs related to this particular CVs, like with respect to each module or each application, there might be some vulnerability related to this particular weaknesses. So that is named as a CVEs. So if you see this 2010-0013, in the sense it has been identified in year 2010. I think we have seen the list, month-wise list, year-wise list of CVEs. There is a website which provides the all the list, latest list. So if you see, you can check the vulnerabilities by date. If I want to see the new vulnerabilities that got identified in September, I can click on September and see when it has been. Like if you see, there is a vulnerability 2000 CVE 2024 45623, which got, which is a D-Link tap hardware or firmware. It's vulnerability related to a hardware, and you can able to see it has got published in like 29, which is yesterday it got published. So like this, you can able to see the like a vulnerability list. It will goes in like thousand numbers will be huge by type. You see, in 2014 they have segregated with the type of category. So injection related vulnerabilities, it was in 2023 it was 2157, but in 2024 it got reduced to 1779. But if you see other vulnerabilities, there might be some increase in the numbers as well. So like that, you can able to see with respect to vendors, with respect to products. Like if I take like Adobe, you can able to see with the vendor name Adobe, we have 344 products and 5742 vulnerabilities. If I put Android, with respect to Android, we have these number of products and the vulnerabilities related to that. So like that, you can able to see, like you can just try to check at a particular product and you can able to get the vulnerabilities related to that as well. So the next Thursday's class will talk about all the secure coding practice and security designs and threat modeling related stuff. So request you guys to go through like complete this particular course till the A10, and if you have any questions we can discuss on Thursday. And let's try to complete few topics here in secure coding practices. So if you see here, this particular slide will give you like a explanation on what are the whatever we have discussed so far uh, with respect to top 10 vulnerabilities. It is giving you the best practices under each uh, concept. Like we have authentication. Authentication, I hope you are aware about what is authentication means. Authentication is nothing but when you give your username and password, you're authenticating this. The system authenticates you to enter into the system. It's a process of identifying yourself. The system is identifying you as the with the password and user OTPs and other different mechanisms. Authorization is whatever the access that is provided to you, you are able to view those. Session management, input validation, auditing and logging, error handling, data protection are some of the best coding practices that we have. We'll see about each and everything in the next class. Because if we start, we'll not get sufficient time to complete it. And and also we'll see about the secure design principles. So designing is nothing but like when you're starting the new software, what are the areas that you need to check with respect to cyber security. We'll be checking on that. We'll be learning on that, and then also about the different basic design principles, and we'll talk about threat modeling, and we will also talk about a tool called Microsoft SDL tool. It's a threat modeling tool that helps us, the developers and architects, to identify and mitigate the potential security issues. And also we'll be talking performing like you you guys might have a data structures. You might be you would have drawn a DFT diagrams. So we'll be something related to that. We'll be doing the data flow diagrams related to like how it is being done in the cybersecurity space. So any questions on these topics or the topics that we have discussed so far? We can just use the Q&A session, sorry, Q&A panel. You can post your questions. We are here for another 7 minutes to answer. You have any questions?